I stand in my parents' Vermont dining room, the heavy cardstock of my Cornell law degree a dead weight in my left hand. The embossed lettering feels like lead, not the golden key to their approval I had spent my entire life chasing. My right hand moves on its own, a protective gesture over the small, firm swell beneath my silk dress. 5 months of secret joy, 5 months of abject terror, all wrapped up in one involuntary motion. Father's face, usually so controlled, twists. His gaze drops from my face to my middle, and the engineered warmth of the celebration dinner freezes. I have known Warren Ellsworth for 27 years, and in all that time, I have never seen him look at me with such raw, unfiltered disgust. "You're a disgrace," he says. His voice isn't loud. It's worse. It's quiet, precise, each word sharpened like a scalpel. "Get out." I turn to my mother, but she offers no refuge. Eleanor Ellsworth's perfectly manicured nails dig into the dark wood of her dining chair, her knuckles white. "You made your bed, Adriana," she says, her voice as brittle as thin ice. "Now you'll have to sleep in it." There's no sadness in her tone, not even the pretense of warmth. I swallow, my throat closing. "If you'd just let me explain about Elias." "There is nothing to explain," Father cuts me off, his hand moving to straighten his tie, as if my very presence has somehow disarranged his perfect world. "Do you have any idea what this does to us? What this will do to my standing in this town?" "We gave you everything," Mother adds, her voice trembling. "It's not emotion. It's a carefully calibrated outrage, a performance for an audience of two, the best schools, opportunities other girls would kill for. And this is how you repay us?" "We're engaged." I try again, the words feeling small in the sudden cold. "Elias and I were getting married." "This baby—" "Pastor Thorne just asked me to head the Family Values Committee," Father interrupts, the words barreling right over mine. The color is rising in his neck, a dark, angry red. Can you imagine what he would say if he knew my own daughter was— He can't even finish the sentence, choking on his own disgust. Mother's eyes dart to the window, a reflexive, paranoid tick, as if the neighbors are already pressed against the glass. "The Gardeners Club is meeting here next week. What am I supposed to tell them? What do I say to Susan Matthews from church?" Their words are a flood, washing over me. I realize with a sickening lurch that neither of them has asked a single question about me, not how I feel, not if I'm healthy, and not once, who the father of my child is. All they see is a threat to the fragile, perfect image they've spent a lifetime curating. "You are not welcome in this house while you are carrying that mistake," Father declares. He points, his finger aimed squarely at my belly, and with that one gesture, his words unlock a memory, sharp and painful. My 15th birthday. I'd been offered a full art scholarship to a summer program in New York. I showed him the acceptance letter, my hands shaking with excitement. His smile never reached his eyes. "Art is a hobby, Adriana, not a future," he'd said, his voice laced with that familiar disappointment. "And Ellsworth always puts family reputation first. I've already enrolled you in the business leadership camp." I remember how I nodded, how I swallowed my dreams and tucked my sketches under my bed. It wasn't the first time I'd abandoned a piece of myself for his approval. It wouldn't be the last. Every college boyfriend, every decision, every achievement, all of it measured against Warren Ellsworth's impossible yardstick. And still, I never measured up. If you're watching this video, tell me where you're from or what time it is for you. My hands are trembling now, but I force them still. "I'll get my things," I say. My voice is quiet, but it doesn't shake. Upstairs, in the room that was mine for 27 years, I pack a single suitcase. My motions are mechanical, detached. Through the floorboards, I can hear the faint clink of silverware on china. They're continuing their dinner without me. 27 years of daughterhood, erased in less than 5 minutes. In the hallway, a gallery of family photos mocks me. The Ellsworths at the country club, the Ellsworths at father's firm gala, the Ellsworths at mother's charity ball. Perfect poses, perfect clothes, perfect, empty smiles. Not one of them is real. I trail my fingers over the last one in the line, my law school acceptance. Father's hand is on my shoulder. To a stranger, it looks like pride. I remember what he was whispering, his fingers digging into my shoulder hard enough to bruise. Don't waste this opportunity, Adriana. Don't you dare waste it like you almost did with that art nonsense. Downstairs, they're still at the table. Mother doesn't look up from her plate. Father has raised his newspaper like a barrier between us. I walk to the dining table and place my framed Cornell degree on the polished wood, my last offering to their altar of appearances. Goodbye, I say. The walls don't answer, neither do they. I step onto the porch, and the front door closes behind me. There's no dramatic slam, just the quiet, oiled click of a final exclusion. The cool Vermont air hits my face. I press my hand to my belly, feeling the faint, reassuring flutter from within. It's just us now, I whisper. I pull my phone from my purse, my fingers already finding Elias's name. For the first time in my life, I have disappointed my parents in a way that can't be fixed. No achievement, no apology can patch this. And beneath the acid sting of rejection, something else stirs. It's a strange, unfamiliar feeling, relief. As if I've been holding my breath for 27 years, and I can finally exhale. The hotel bed feels like sandpaper against my skin. The room is beige and anonymous, smelling faintly of industrial cleaner. I'm clutching my phone, tears blurring Elias's name on the screen before I can press call. Each ring echoes the frantic pounding in my chest. Adriana, what happened? Are you okay? Elias's voice wraps around me, the first warmth I've felt in hours. They threw me out, I whisper, the words sounding hollow and unreal. Elias, they threw me out. They didn't even ask about you. They didn't ask who the father was. I'm coming to get you. Where are you? Send me the address right now. No, I need a minute to think. My phone buzzes in my hand with a notification, a social media tag. Hold on, Elias. Stay on the line. I switch him to speaker and open the app. My mother's face smiles back at me from the top of my feed. Her post, made less than 10 minutes ago, is already collecting sympathetic comments. Please keep our dear Adriana in your prayers, it reads. Sometimes the brightest minds struggle with the heaviest burdens. Warren and I are devastated by her sudden breakdown, but we trust in God's plan for her healing. The room spins. Elias, I say, my voice choking. Elias, they're telling people I had a breakdown. She's telling everyone I'm mentally unstable. Before he can even respond, my phone vibrates again. A new voicemail. The caller ID is Aunt Meredith. I press play, the tinny sound of her voice filling the silence. Adriana, honey, what have you done? Her voice is thick with a practiced, disappointed grief. Your parents they are devastated by your choices. They have loved you so completely. How could you hurt them this way? Pastor Thorne is already planning your intervention. You need to call them, sweetie. You need to make this right. I sink to the cheap carpet, the phone clutched in my hand. They're rewriting the story, I tell Elias, my voice hollow. They're not just kicking me out. They're erasing me. They're painting me as crazy so no one will believe me. Adriana, listen to me, Elias says, his voice tight with a new anger. There's more. It's not just your mother. What do you mean? My dad just got a call. A friend of his, a senior partner at Whitman and Pierce. My blood runs cold. My new job. The one I'm supposed to start in 3 weeks. What about it? Your father contacted them, Adriana. He called David Hemlock the managing partner. He told them he had grave family concerns about your current stability. He warned them you might not be fit to practice. The air leaves my lungs in a painful rush. This isn't just a family dispute. This is a coordinated attack. Warren Ellsworth, who built his entire reputation in Vermont business circles for 30 years, is using every connection he has to destroy my future before it even begins. He's trying to make me desperate, I say, the clarity hitting me like a physical blow. If I can't work, I'll have no money. If I have no money, I'll have to go crawling back to him. It's a pincer movement, Elias says, his voice grim. Your mother uses social pressure to isolate you. He uses financial leverage to break you. Adriana, Elias says, his tone shifting. We aren't playing their game. My father wants to speak with you, right now. I'm handing him the phone. The line rustles, and then a new voice, deeper and calmer than Elias's, fills the line. Conrad Caldwell. I've only met him a handful of times at Hamilton graduations and formal dinners. Adriana, he says, and his voice is so steady it grounds me. You are family now. Do you understand me? We protect our family. I can't speak. I just nod, clutching the phone. This is not about shame, Adriana, he continues, as if sensing my thoughts. This is about control. Your father is trying to control you. We are not going to let that happen. I don't know what to do. Yes, you do. You're going to pack your things. I've already sent a car to your hotel. It will be there in 15 minutes. Mr. Caldwell. Conrad. I can't impose... Nonsense, he says, cutting me off with a gentleness that feels foreign. Genevieve is already preparing the East Suite for you. Matilda is practically vibrating with excitement to see you, and our family lawyer will be contacting David Hemlock at Whitman and Pierce first thing tomorrow morning to undo the damage Warren has attempted. Tears, hot and sudden, well in my eyes, not from fear this time. We'll see you in an hour, Adriana, he says. You're safe now. The line clicks. I hang up and stare at the wall for a long moment. My mind, the lawyer's mind I'd trained for 5 years, begins to click into place. The shock is receding, replaced by something cold and sharp. I call Elias back. I'll accept your father's help, I say. You don't sound like you're crying anymore, he notes, a hint of relief in his own voice. I'm not, I say, wiping my face. Something changed when I heard your father's voice. It was like finally seeing the whole chessboard after only staring at one piece. 2 hours later, the Caldwell family's driver is helping me with my single suitcase. We pass through wrought iron gates, the name Caldwell inscribed in elegant script, and follow a long, winding driveway bordered by ancient oak trees. The Georgian mansion rises before us, stately and solid, its windows glowing like gold against the deep blue of the evening sky. The car stops. On the wide front steps, silhouetted against the light from the open door, stands Conrad Caldwell. He's silver-haired, straight-backed, and he opens my car door himself, bypassing the driver. Welcome home, sweetheart, he says, helping me out of the car with a gentleness my own father has never, not once, shown me. A woman with kind eyes and hair the same silver as Conrad's appears in the doorway. Genevieve. The suite is ready whenever you are, dear, she says, her face warm with genuine concern. There's no rush at all. Before I can answer, a blur of motion barrels past her. Matilda, Elias's younger sister, throws her arms around me in a hug that's surprisingly strong. I'm going to be an aunt, she squeals. This is literally the best news ever. Their welcome is a physical force washing over me in waves. Each kind word, each gentle touch on my arm is a stark, painful contrast to the icy rejection I faced just hours before. And beneath the surging gratitude, an emptiness expands. These people, who are practically strangers, are offering me what my own blood could not. Unconditional acceptance. I step into the grand foyer, and there, waiting at the base of a sweeping staircase, is Elias. His hands are clasped behind his back, a nervous energy in his smile that I know so well. As I approach, he drops to one knee. My hand flies to my mouth. Elias, what? He reveals what he was hiding. a small velvet box. Inside, an emerald-cut emerald glints in an antique gold setting. It's stunning. "It was my grandmother's," he says, his voice thick with emotion. "I told Dad my plans last month. He had it sized for you. I was going to do this next week, after your graduation dinner. But I think now is a better time." My hand is shaking as he slides the ring onto my finger. It's a perfect fit, another piece of evidence. While my own parents were preparing to cast me out, the Caldwells were preparing to welcome me in. I pull him to his feet and into my arms. "Yes," I whisper into his shoulder. "Yes. 1,000 times yes." Later, in the guest suite, a room larger and more beautiful than my entire childhood bedroom, I stand at the window. The moonlight silvers the manicured gardens below. This hollow victory tastes bitter-sweet. I found a home, but I had to find it with strangers because the ones who raised me see me as a liability. My phone, which I'd left on the nightstand, buzzes. I pick it up. Another social media proclamation from my mother. "Warren and I thank you all for the outpouring of support during this difficult time. Family is everything. We pray our Adriana finds her way back to us soon." I stare at the words. Family is everything. The hypocrisy is so profound, it's almost impressive. I power the phone off. I place one hand on my belly and the other on the cold, heavy emerald on my finger. "We have a family," I whisper to my unborn child. "It's just not the one I expected." I wake to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar, heavy silk curtains. For a disoriented second, I expect to see the pale blue wallpaper of my childhood bedroom. Then my hand finds the firm swell of my belly, and I remember. I'm at the Caldwell estate. My phone buzzes on the nightstand. I'd turned it back on, needing to monitor the damage. Another text from Mother. "We are praying for your return to reason. Pastor Thorne mentioned wayward children in his sermon yesterday. Everyone is so concerned." I set the phone down without replying. The scent of coffee and cinnamon pulls me downstairs. In the massive, sun-drenched kitchen, Genevieve Caldwell stands at a marble island, her silver hair caught in the morning light. "There she is," Genevieve says, her smile genuine. She slides a plate of cinnamon toast toward me. "Sleep well, dear?" Before I can answer, my phone lights up again. A call from Father. It's the fourth one this morning. I silence it, but not before Genevieve notices the name on the screen. "They must have found out where I am," I say, the toast suddenly dry in my mouth. Genevieve covers my hand with hers. Her skin is warm. "Let them know, Adriana. This isn't a secret for you to be ashamed of." Her eyes, the same intelligent green as Elias's, crinkle at the corners. "You're carrying our grandchild, too." Her simple, matter-of-fact acceptance breaks through the wall I've been holding up. "They're telling everyone I had a breakdown," I confess, the words spilling out. Mother called her entire garden club, and someone, Father, I'm sure, has been making anonymous calls to my new firm. Concerns about my character. Genevieve's expression hardens. Warren always did prefer manipulation to an honest conversation. I look up, surprised. "You know my father? Well, I mean." Charles and Warren have crossed paths in Vermont business for years. Our companies have occasional dealings. She refills my teacup. "In fact, your father threatened one of our project managers yesterday, told him his job would be in jeopardy if he didn't share your new address." The familiar sick knot of fear forms in my stomach, but this time, something else rises with it. Anger, sharp, cold, and clarifying. "I need to document everything," I say, the lawyer part of my brain finally engaging, pushing past the personal turmoil. Every call, every text, every social media post, every attempt to interfere with my job. I need a timeline. Genevieve's approval warms me more than the tea. Smart girl, protect yourself first. For the next 2 days, I work. I sit in the window seat of the guest suite, my laptop warm on my legs. I create a detailed, password-protected file. I screenshot Mother's manipulative posts and the syrupy, concerned comments from her friends. I log every missed call from Father. I transcribe Aunt Meredith's voicemail. I add Genevieve's account of the threat to the Caldwell employee. Each entry is cataloged with dates, times, and potential witnesses. My 5 years of legal training are finally finding a purpose beyond making Warren Ellsworth proud. This file is my shield. It's my weapon. It's the proof that I'm not unstable. I'm being harassed. On the second evening, I step away for dinner. The meal with the Caldwells is loud and warm. Matilda is telling an elaborate, hilarious story about a professor at Hamilton, and Conrad is arguing with Elias about a new energy policy. For 2 hours, I just breathe. I feel normal. After dinner, I head back upstairs to add a new text from Mother that just came in. I open my laptop, type in my password, and open the folder. It's empty. My stomach plummets. I check the desktop. Nothing. I frantically log into my cloud backup. The folder is there, but it's also empty. Wiped. The file, my meticulous timeline, every piece of evidence. It's gone. Elias! I yell, panic seizing my throat. He's in the room in seconds. What? What's wrong? The file, my file, it's gone, everything. The backups, too. Someone deleted it. Elias's face goes pale. He runs to the door and checks the hall, then closes it and locks it. Your father, he says, his voice low and furious. He must have an operative, someone who could get into the network here, or maybe someone on the staff. I sink onto the bed, my hands shaking. My shield, my weapon, my proof. It's gone. Warren knew exactly what I would do, what my legal mind would default to, and he cut me off. He stole my advantage. A soft knock on the door makes us both jump. It's Conrad. Adriana? He says through the door. We have company. A hollow feeling in my stomach tells me exactly who it is. In the grand foyer, my parents stand like foreign dignitaries on hostile soil. They look small and out of place beneath the soaring ceilings and the generations of Caldwell portraits staring down from the walls. Mother's cream suit is, as always, impeccable. Father's posture is rigid. Their eyes are sweeping over the hand-carved staircase, the antique furniture, their expressions a mask of poorly concealed calculation. Adriana! Mother steps forward, her arms outstretched for an embrace she knows I won't accept. Oh, darling, we've been so worried. I stand my ground. My evidence file may be gone, but I will not show weakness. Father doesn't bother with the pretense. What exactly do you think you're doing here, Adriana? His voice is the same authoritarian bark that once sent me scrambling. William. Eleanor. Conrad's voice cuts through the tension. It lacks Father's sharp edge, but it carries a quiet authority that makes everyone turn. I wasn't aware we'd scheduled a meeting today. Father's jaw tightens. This is a family matter, Conrad. Indeed it is, Conrad replies smoothly. He moves to stand beside me, a silent, solid presence. Genevieve appears at my other side, her shoulder brushing mine. Which is precisely why we're involved. You've turned our daughter against us, Mother accuses, her voice pitched to perfect, wounded maternal concern. I find my own voice. It's steadier than I expected now that my digital shield is gone. You rejected me, I say, the words clear and cold in the large hall. They welcomed me. This rebellious phase has gone on long enough, Father snaps. You're coming home. Now. We can discuss this situation privately. There's nothing to discuss, I say. You made your position perfectly clear when you threw me out. We were shocked, Mother counters, her eyes darting to Conrad and Genevieve, her true audience. You can't expect parents to absorb news like that without a reaction. You didn't even ask who the father was, I point out. 5 months pregnant, your daughter tells you she's having a baby, and you never once asked about the baby's father. A flicker of uncertainty crosses Mother's face, but Father plows ahead, shifting his attack. And now we find you've entangled yourself with the Caldwells. How convenient. Adriana is under our protection now, William, Conrad says, his voice dropping a degree. As our future daughter-in-law and as the mother of our grandchild, she has our full and unconditional support. Father's confidence wavers. Just for a second, his eyes narrow. Future daughter-in-law? Yes, Elias says, appearing in the doorway. He crosses the foyer in 3 long strides and takes my hand, lacing his fingers with mine. He lifts our joined hands, the emerald on my finger, catching the light. We're getting married. Something I would have told you had you given Adriana the chance to speak. Mother's perfect facade cracks. Her mouth opens and closes. Ethan, Elias Caldwell? She stammers. But you never mentioned... Would it have mattered? I ask, my voice quiet. Would knowing the father was a Caldwell have changed your reaction? Would it have made the baby a mistake or a strategic alliance? The telling guilty silence that fills the foyer answers my question more clearly than any words ever could. Father recovers first, shifting tactics instantly. He turns to Conrad, man to man. Charles, Conrad, we should discuss this reasonably. Our companies have mutual interests. This situation could affect them. Conrad's smile is polite, but it doesn't reach his eyes. Your employment relationships with Caldwell Energy remain secure, William, as long as they remain professional. His meaning is clear. Your interference in my family, however, is not welcome. I watch Father's confident mask slip further. For the first time in my life, I see him clearly, not as the infallible patriarch I spent my life trying to please, but as a bully, a man whose power only exists when other people are afraid of him. Mother senses the shift, too. Her eyes dart between Conrad and Father, suddenly unsure which one holds the power in this room. Perhaps we've approached this incorrectly, she offers, her tone softening. We only want what's best for Adriana. No, I say, my voice firm. I place a hand over my belly. You want what's best for your reputation. I'm done with that. I'm building a real family now. They have no response. Conrad gestures politely toward the door. They leave, defeated. A week passes. The house is busy with quiet, happy preparations. Matilda and I have been looking at wedding dresses. Genevieve and I have been discussing nursery colors. My stolen evidence file feels like a phantom limb. I still reach for it, angry at its absence. My phone rings. It's Aunt Meredith. I brace myself, expecting another round of guilt tripping, another plea to make peace with my parents. Adriana? Her voice is shaky, not with practiced grief, but with real fear. Aunt Meredith? What's wrong? I spoke to your father, she says, her voice dropping to a whisper. I told him he was being cruel. I told him he was destroying his family over nothing but pride. What did he say? She takes a shaky breath. He threatened me, Adriana. He reminded me about that old family loan your uncle and I took out from him years ago. He said if I interfered again, he'd call it due. The whole thing. He'd ruin us. I grip the phone. He what? He's your father, but he's a monster, she whispers, and now she's crying. I can't stand by. I can't. What he's doing to you? It's what he's always done, but this is too far. Aunt Meredith, it's okay. Don't put yourself at risk for me. No, you listen to me. Your mother has been texting me, bragging almost, about how they were going to manage this. I'm forwarding them to you right now. Use them, Adriana. Don't let him win. My phone buzzes. A string of new text messages appears. I open the first one. It's from my mother, Eleanor, to Aunt Meredith, sent the day after I was kicked out. The breakdown story is working perfectly. Pastor Thorne is already organizing an intervention. Once we have her declared unstable, We can get her the help she needs, and this whole mess can be handled quietly. My blood runs cold. It's not just an admission, it's a confession. I scroll to the next one. Warren has already spoken to her new firm. They're nervous. He's brilliant. Between his pressure and my social isolation, she'll have no choice but to come home. She'll be desperate in a week. I sit down, my head spinning. My stolen file was a shield. This is a sword. This is the proof. This is what Warren's operative missed. He didn't know his own wife was bragging about their scheme to her sister. Aunt Meredith, I say, my voice shaking with a new kind of energy. Thank you. You have no idea what you've just done. Just be careful, Adriana. He'll be furious when he finds out. I'll be careful, I say, and I won't forget this. I immediately save the screenshots. I email them to Elias, to Conrad, and to the Caldwell family lawyer. I save them to a new encrypted cloud drive under a name only Elias would know. My father took my evidence. My aunt just gave me an arsenal. 3 days later, I'm in the library with Genevieve, looking at fabric swatches for the nursery, when Conrad appears in the doorway. His expression is grave. Adriana, he says. Pastor Thorne is in the living room. My stomach tightens. What? Why? He's with your parents. They're requesting you join them. An intervention, I say flatly, the one Mother wrote about in her texts. Conrad nods. Genevieve moves to stand beside him, her hand near the security panel by the door. Say the word, Adriana, and I will have them removed from the property as trespassers. I look at her, then at Conrad. Weeks ago, I would have hidden upstairs. I would have crumbled under the weight of their disapproval. But something has shifted. The Caldwells' unwavering support, Aunt Meredith's texts, the clarity of seeing my parents' manipulation for exactly what it is. It all crystallizes into a new cold strength. No, I say, rising from the sofa. I'll speak with them. Elias appears as I step into the hall, his hand finding mine. As we descend the grand staircase, I feel his steady presence behind me. Each step feels like reclaiming ground. I walk into the living room. Pastor Thorne rises, his face a mask of pastoral concern, though his eyes are uncomfortable. My parents flank him like two stone bookends on the antique sofa. Mother's eyes are red-rimmed. It's a masterful performance, one I've seen 100 times, a performance I now recognize for what it is. Father isn't looking at me. He's looking at Conrad, who has followed us in. He's still calculating, still searching for leverage. My hands don't tremble. The 5 days I've spent at this estate have replaced my uncertainty with a clarity as sharp as a scalpel. I take a deep breath, my hand still in Elias's. Pastor Thorne, I say, my voice clear and carrying in the large room. I address him directly, pointedly ignoring my parents. I appreciate you coming, but I need to correct several significant misrepresentations. My voice has the precision I honed in Cornell mock trials. First, my parents did not discover my pregnancy. I told them. They immediately threw me out of their house without asking a single question. Pastor Thorne's eyes widen. He darts a glance at my father, whose face is reddening. The shock on the pastor's face is genuine. It's the first honest reaction I've seen since I entered the room. Second, I continue, I am not some wayward girl who made a reckless mistake. As I'm sure you've been led to believe, I am engaged. I am carrying this child in a committed 5-year relationship with Elias Caldwell. I squeeze Elias's hand. Conrad and Genevieve, standing near the doorway, are a silent, powerful shield at my back. What my parents have orchestrated, I say, pulling my phone from my pocket, is textbook emotional and financial manipulation. They have told friends and family I had a mental breakdown. I hold up the phone, showing him the texts from Aunt Meredith. I have proof that my mother invented that story to control me. My father has contacted my new law firm to question my character and my stability in an attempt to make me financially dependent on him. They have orchestrated what you believe is a loving intervention, I finish, when in reality, it is a desperate, calculated attempt to salvage their public reputation at the expense of my life and my family. We just wanted what's best for you, Adriana. Father lurches forward in his seat. Can't you see that? We needed time to process, darling, Mother adds, her hand reaching for the pastor's arm, tears materializing on cue. I watch Pastor Thorne's face. His gaze lingers on my mother's hand clutching his sleeve, then moves to my father's rigid, angry posture. If you wanted what was best for me, I say evenly, you wouldn't have thrown me out. You would have asked one simple question, who is the father? Father's jaw tightens. He's lost control of the room, and he knows it. He resorts to his only move, threats. This isn't the place for this. I am calling David Hemlock at your firm on Monday. We'll see how excited they are about a new associate with all these complications. A small smile touches Conrad's lips as he steps forward. Actually, William, I had lunch with David Hemlock yesterday. Father freezes. He was delighted to hear about Adriana and Elias's engagement. Conrad continues, his voice pleasant. He sends his congratulations. The firm, by the way, is fully supportive of their family plans and is personally overseeing Adriana's maternity accommodations. Father's face drains of all color. Mother's tears vanish instantly, then reappear with renewed vigor when she sees Pastor Thorne watching her. The calculation is so obvious, it's painful. Pastor Thorne clears his throat, his discomfort turning to a quiet anger. He gently removes his arm from Mother's grasp. Mr. and Mrs. Ellsworth, he says, his voice stern. You didn't mention your daughter was engaged. Does that matter? Father snaps. The situation is inappropriate. Actually, it matters a great deal. The pastor replies, straightening. You presented this as a case of a young woman making reckless choices who needed the church's guidance to find the right path. You used my concern for your family to ambush your daughter. He turns to me. Miss Ellsworth, Adriana, I sincerely apologize. The church is meant to offer support during life's transitions, not judgment. You have my full support. Pastor, surely you understand, Mother tries, her voice trembling. Our position in the community, what I understand, Eleanor, he replies gently, is that I was asked to participate in something very different from what I was told. Conrad steps forward, the perfect, gracious host. Pastor Thorne, you've had a long drive. May I offer you some coffee? That would be lovely, Conrad, thank you, the pastor says, visibly relieved. While Conrad pours the coffee, Genevieve retrieves a small envelope from a side table. Perhaps you'd like to see our grandchild, Pastor? She hands him the ultrasound photos. His weathered face softens as he looks at the images. Beautiful, he murmurs. Truly a blessing. Elias moves to stand beside me, his arm slipping around my waist. Amanda and I have been together for 5 years, Pastor, he says. We met our first week at Hamilton. This baby was a surprise, yes, but our plans to build a life together have been in motion for a long time. Matilda then comes over with a small folder. We've just finished the engagement announcement for the town paper, she says brightly. Would you like to see it? It's a coordinated, effortless, and brilliant response. They don't need to argue. They just present the truth. The narrative my parents crafted has crumbled to dust. Mother's eyes are locked on the ultrasound photo in Pastor Thorne's hand. Something flickers across her face. It's not the manufactured grief from moments ago. It's something raw, genuine. For a second, I see the grandmother she could have been if appearances mattered less than love. Father, however, notices nothing. His focus is fixed on Conrad, his mind still running calculations of power and influence, and finding himself completely outmatched. William, Mother whispers, touching his arm, maybe we should listen. His head jerks toward her, pure betrayal in his eyes. There's nothing to listen to. We're leaving. But Mother doesn't move. Her gaze returns to the ultrasound photo. "Is it a boy or a girl?" she asks, her voice barely audible. Father stands abruptly. "Elizabeth?" She flinches but stays seated. "Just a moment, William." It's the first time in my entire life I have ever seen her contradict him, however mildly. The first tiny crack in their united front. Father looks down at her with cold disbelief. Then, without another word, he turns and walks out of the living room. Alone. The front door closes with a decisive final click. Mother sits motionless, trapped between the husband she has always obeyed and the grandchild she suddenly, clearly, wants to know. "The baby is a girl," I tell her. My voice isn't warm, but it isn't cold. It's just a fact, an offering she can accept or reject. Mother looks up at me, her usual calculated poise completely gone. For the first time, I have no idea what she will do next. And for the first time, I realize it's not my problem to fix. 5 weeks later, I stare at the formal letter in my hands. The embossed letterhead of my father's law firm glares up at me. The demand for a family meeting before my wedding makes my stomach clench. My wedding to Elias is in 2 days. 2 days until I marry him in the Caldwell garden. "Your father's lawyer called again," Conrad says. He's sitting across from me at his mahogany desk, his voice calm, but his eyes sharp. "They're threatening a grandparent rights lawsuit." I trace the embossed lettering with my finger. "Mother has been calling every relative we have," I say, my voice tired. "Aunt Meredith phoned me in tears yesterday, begging me to make peace before the baby comes. And now half the family is texting you," Elias adds from the window, his anger a palpable thing in the quiet study. "All with the same message. Don't be cruel, Adriana. Think of the baby." Genevieve enters with a tray of tea, her presence a quiet, steadying force. "They've requested formal mediation," Conrad says, his mouth tightening around the word. "Before the wedding." They're desperate. Since Pastor Thorne walked out of their intervention, they've lost control of the narrative in town. The engagement announcement ran in the paper. The story of their rejection, followed by the Caldwell's welcome, has spread. But their threats are still landing. Warren's lawyer has been contacting my new colleagues, planting whispers about my emotional instability during pregnancy. A small, weary part of me, the ghost of the daughter I used to be, whispers that making peace would just be easier. But as I look around the room, at Conrad's protective steadiness, Genevieve's unconditional warmth, and Elias's unwavering support, that voice dies. "Boundaries aren't punishment," I say, setting down my cup. "They're protection." Conrad nods, a small smile at his lips. "What if we invite them here?" Genevieve suggests. "Tonight, a dinner, on our terms. The home advantage will be ours." I straighten. My legal mind maps the strategy. "Mediation," I agree. "Let's give them their mediation. I'll prepare a statement." Facts, not emotions. "And we still hold the wedding in 2 days," Elias says, moving to stand behind my chair, his hands on my shoulders. "Regardless of what happens." My hand finds his. Let's do it. That evening, Genevieve sends a formal, polite dinner invitation to my parents. The response comes within an hour. They will attend. Their eagerness confirms their desperation. When they arrive, I watch from the library window. Father's Bentley looks small and unimpressive in the grand circular driveway of the Caldwell estate. Mother is wearing a cream silk suit, her church luncheon armor. Father is pressed and rigid. They look powerful until they step inside. The soaring ceilings, the portraits, the quiet, old-money elegance of the Caldwell home dwarfs them and their carefully constructed status symbols. I see the flash of discomfort on their faces before their masks slam back into place. Conrad leads them to the formal dining room with impeccable professionalism. Genevieve welcomes them with a warmth that seems to neutralize their tension. though I see the calculation behind Mother's returning smile. I enter last, Elias at my side. My navy dress clearly shows my 7-month bump. Father's eyes slide away from it. Mother's gaze lingers a moment too long. William, Elizabeth. I greet them, my voice carefully neutral. Thank you for coming. We take our seats. Genevieve's finest china gleams under the chandelier. The first course is served by quiet staff. The contrast to our family dinners, where Mother always insisted on serving everyone herself to prove her domesticity, is stark. As the soup bowls are cleared, I place my napkin on the table. I meet my father's eyes directly. I've prepared a statement regarding our future relationship and boundaries. I begin, my voice steady. But first, I have a question. Father shifts in his seat, already uncomfortable that I am controlling this conversation. When you decided to reject me from your home, I ask, was that before or after you knew who the father was? The color drains from Father's face. His stunned, furious silence is all the answer I need. I don't know what you mean, Mother stammers, but the excuse falls flat. When Adriana told you she was pregnant, Conrad says calmly, picking up the thread, you never bothered to ask. You saw only a problem, a threat to your reputation. That's not... Father starts. It's exactly what happened, Genevieve interrupts, her voice gentle but unyielding. You rejected your daughter, and you rejected my grandchild without knowing a single fact beyond what might embarrass you at church. We were shocked. Mother tries again, the old, tired excuse. We needed time. Time to spread rumors about my mental health? I ask, my voice sharp. Time to contact my law firm and try to get me fired? Time to have Pastor Thorne ambush me in a fake intervention? Father's fingers drum on the damask tablecloth. The veneer of civility is gone. This isn't over, he says, the old threat returning to his voice. We have rights. Your employment at Caldwell Energy remains secure, William, Conrad replies, his voice measured and precise. As long as you stay out of Adriana's life. Mother's eyes fill with tears I've learned not to trust. We have grandparent rights, she whispers, the line she's been fed by her lawyer. The courts, I interrupt, and my legal education feels like a weapon in my throat, require an established pre-existing relationship to even consider granting visitation, a relationship you actively severed. I lean forward, and for the first time, my father looks small. Your rejection, your defamation, and your financial threats are documented. Every call, every text, every manipulation, including the ones from my aunt that you don't know I have. I may be your daughter, but I am also a Cornell-educated attorney. Do not ever threaten me with a law you do not understand. Their faces crumble, not with remorse, but with the cold, hard realization that every weapon they had has been stripped away. They have no power here. Conrad stands. This dinner is over. I'll walk you out. As Conrad leads them to the door, I watch my father's rigid shoulders. Mother glances back one time, her face streaked with tears that, for the first time, might actually be genuine. I feel no sadness, no anger, just the clean, quiet ache of a necessary closure. The front door closes. The Caldwells surround me. Genevieve's arm circles my waist. Elias's hand finds mine. The family I chose. The family that chose me. They showed me exactly what kind of parent I will never be, I say softly, my other hand resting on my belly. In 2 days, I say, looking at Elias, I'll marry you in that garden, and in 4 months we'll welcome our daughter into a home built on love, not appearances. Some boundaries aren't meant to be crossed. Some endings are just making room for better beginnings. 4 months later, I stand in the Caldwell dining room, sunlight streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows. My Cornell law degree hangs in Conrad's study, his suggestion, not mine. The same silk dress I wore that night at my parents' house is stretched noticeably over my 7-month bump. Conrad raises his crystal flute, the bubbling apple cider catching the light. "To our daughter and to our grandchild," he announces, his voice thick with a warmth that still amazes me. Around the table, the faces I have come to treasure beam back. Genevieve dabs her eyes. "I never thought I'd be so blessed," she whispers, reaching for my hand. My phone buzzes on the table. My parents' number flashes on the screen, the third call this week. With a single casual swipe, I decline it and silence my phone. No panic rises in my chest, no fear, no desperate residual need to answer. Just peace. "Everything okay?" Elias asks, his hand finding the small of my back. "Perfect," I answer, and I mean it. 4 weeks ago, we were married in the garden. It was simple, just roses climbing white trellises and a string quartet. My ivory dress showed my belly proudly. Elias's eyes never left mine as we spoke our vows. Later that night, I wrote in my journal, "Love doesn't require earning." 4 words it took me 27 years to learn. My law career began at Whitman & Pierce with a surprising confidence. With Conrad's backing and my own clear conscience, my father's whispers of instability had evaporated. I carry no shadow of his expectations into client meetings. I carry only the steady assurance of a woman building a life on her own terms. The nursery is buttery yellow, catching the morning light. Genevieve helped, but never pushed. She offered suggestions, which I was free to accept or decline. My mother would have just rearranged everything without asking, I told my therapist last week. Our sessions have become a quiet refuge. "And how does Genevieve's approach make you feel?" she'd asked. "Like I matter," I answered. The baby shower brought unexpected tears. Seeing my colleagues from the firm, my old college roommate and Matilda, all gathered around me. A chosen family, replacing the toxic one I'd left behind. Yesterday, a junior associate stopped by my office, her hands twisting. "My father wants me to switch to corporate law," she confessed. "He says family law isn't prestigious enough." I gestured to the chair. "Family isn't about prestige," I told her, sharing a small piece of my story. "It's about who stands beside you when it's hardest." Her eyes widened with recognition. Now I stand on the Caldwell porch at sunset. Elias is beside me, cradling our sleeping daughter, Lila Genevieve Caldwell. Born 3 days ago, she entered the world with a powerful cry and 10 perfect fingers that wrapped instantly around my heart. "There's a letter," Elias says quietly, nodding to the side table. My mother's handwriting is on the cream envelope. I open it. It's what I expected. A tentative, cautious request for reconciliation, a plea to meet her granddaughter. I sit down at the outdoor desk and write a short response. My hand doesn't shake. My heart isn't angry. It's just clear. When you are ready to meet your granddaughter as she is, not as a continuation of your family name, not as a secret you once tried to hide, but as the beautiful, perfect gift she is, we will be here. The Virginia countryside stretches out before us, the hills rolling toward a horizon painted amber and gold. Through the window behind me, I can see Conrad and Genevieve in the dining room, their faces full of quiet joy. "They showed me what family isn't," I whisper to Elias, leaning my head on his shoulder. "The Caldwells showed me what a family is supposed to be." "Blood doesn't make family, Adriana. Love does," he says, kissing my forehead. Our daughter sleeps peacefully between us. "Love without conditions," he adds. I nod, closing my eyes, finally understanding. It was never something I had to earn. It was only something I had to be worthy of receiving. If this story resonated with you, leave a like and consider subscribing. You can also drop any comment below, even just one word. Maybe tell me where you're watching from, or what time it is right now. Sometimes one word is enough to say you were here.